everyone, good morning and welcome to the channel. Welcome to A Cup with Elle. It is a new week and I am excited to be back here and talking to every one of you. So last week I shared with you some of my new gaming content that I have on the Switch. I have Dragon Quest Builders 2 and Fallout Shelter, two of the games that I've been enjoying recently, and I was so excited about that. And in the coming weeks I would like to share new games as well that I'd like to share with you, and of course go back to uploading Little Nightmares 2 and Animal Crossing content, especially with the update. I'm still getting the hang of it. It's a lot of new content, so I'm taking it slowly. I've only been playing like 10 minutes of Animal Crossing a day, but yeah, it's kind of like falling back in love with the game, and it's exciting. So much new content basically, and things to do, etc., and a lot of new exciting items as well. So welcome to A Cup with Elle, and in this series I basically sit down and with a cup of coffee and talk to you about some thoughts that I have for the day. And today what I have to talk with you about is cognitive distortions. So a bit of a big word, but basically what cognitive distortions mean are these refer to patterns of thought that we believe to be true despite having no basis in fact. And aren't most of us guilty of that? Especially during this time that most of us have been locked in our homes for almost 2 years. Crazy, right? Almost 2 years. Oh yeah, it's the end of 2021. Lockdowns began early in 2020 and 2021 is almost over. So yeah, more 2 years. So it's crazy to think that most of us have been at home for the majority of the past 20 to 24 months. And during this time where we are limited by a number of things, restrictions, health concerns, and etc., a lot of us may feel like we haven't been accomplishing much, and it's hard to do so when we have all of these obstacles. And while there is a very valid argument on how we can work around these things, such as working from home, working online, especially with the internet access that we have, and expanding our world, I guess, digitally and virtually, there's a valid argument for that. This time that we've been spending in the confines of our home is also a lot of room for reflection and self-thought, and perhaps some of you, or most of you like me, have been feeling like a bit of a failure for not being able to accomplish as much as we thought we would back in 2019, just before New Year's, and a time where a lot of people write down goals for the new year, and what we were greeted with was the pandemic. So it's been hard, and that's why I want to talk about this. And there are actually a number of cognitive distortions or stressful thinking patterns, easier to relate to, I guess, the terminology, whatever. So yeah, stressful thinking patterns, it leads to mental suffering, and I am no stranger to that. And the first one that I want to talk about is the all or nothing thinking. There's a number of them, but I don't want to make a video too long. So I just want to talk about the first one, which is the all or nothing thinking. This is when we fall short of perfect and we think of ourselves a failure. And being born an A-type, A personality, and an overachiever, really. I've been one since I was a kid. Very competitive. I've always had to get A's, and that was also the environment that I was raised with. raised in. My parents raised me to be an overachiever. So yeah, there's that. And I guess it was also something that I was born with as well. I've always been competitive even as a kid, and I tried to, trim that around the edges, but it's still there. So when there's nothing to compete against, we just basically, it's a lot of inward reflection and feeling like if we fall short of the goals that we have set for ourselves, we're it's nothing. We're a failure. You're either all that or you're none of it. There's no room for A minus, for B plus. It just has to be A plus. You either get 99 to 100% or more, or it all means nothing. And yeah, we think of it in extreme terms. We are either perfect or we are a disaster. Even in the small things such as cleaning the house or keeping the kitchen spotless or cooking a dish. It's either perfect or garbage. And it's harsh, really, if you think about it. But a lot of us don't realize that this type of thinking is actually causing a lot of mental turmoil and emotional distress, because we are either a total success or a total failure. And during these times, it will be good to be kinder to ourselves. And a lot of us are limited, and it's a lot of adjustment. And I know I've said it's almost been 2 years, and isn't that enough time to have adjusted? But I guess a lot of us are just waiting for the time when things can go back to quote normal. And we still live in that state of, well, I'm just, this is just a temporary place. I just have to wait until the world goes back to normal. Offices resume, buildings I used to go to would resume, etc., etc. And we're all waiting for that, and perhaps we're not all adjusting to the quote new normal, because we don't want to accept that this is how things are, because we're very much believing that the pandemic will of course be over at some point and in the near future. So why bother? But in this interim, we may feel like a total disaster for not being able to accomplish as much as we had in the past. And personally, that's what I find myself doing a lot recently, comparing what I was able to do prior to when COVID-19 hit, and just thinking about, okay, I'm falling so short about what I used to be able to accomplish, what my schedule would look like from day to day, and now I just spend all of my time at home and sleeping 8 hours a day, when I used to thrive on 4 to 6 hours with a fully packed schedule, going all over the city, doing this and that, and working 2 to 3 jobs, and having school and a social life and family. And I don't know, it's just crazy. And I read this article as well, and it's giving some advice on what to tell ourselves when we find ourselves in this room, in this space of thinking of such things. And the first one is perhaps we need to give ourselves some leeway, because this type of thinking, the all or nothing thinking, it derails our attempts to help ourselves, even in small things like dieting or exercising. Especially now that we don't have to spend so much time in the commute, perhaps we have time to exercise or learn a new instrument, or maybe even in the gaming space, where we have to work on this part of our game, accomplish this chapter, or finish terraforming this part of the island. And being harsh on ourselves and allowing ourselves to not be perfect, it derails our attempts to be kind to ourselves. And when we fail, we don't meet that goal, we feel disgusted and we just give up altogether. And it's actually something that I see a lot in my Twitter feed, and my Twitter feed is mostly news and Animal Crossing content, and half of the tweets I find are people talking about, oh, everyone else's islands are so beautiful, I just gave up on mine. You know, I just enjoy everyone else's creations because I can't do it. I'm not creative, and because my island cannot be as beautiful as everyone else's, then I should just give up. You know, and we put it in another context, such maybe perhaps on dieting. Oh, I missed one day, or I had 3 cheat days in a row, and we tell ourselves that maybe it's just not for me, and then we give up. So what should we do? We should have compassion for ourselves. You know, just be nice to yourself, and in the same way that you would tell a friend or a child, it's okay, you can try again, it's not the end of the road, there is so much room for improvement, and it's fine to not be perfect, it's okay to be weak. And it kind of reminds me of this scene from an anime I'm watching, Fire Force. So there's this small child, and his whole life, he's maybe 9 or 10 years old, his whole life everyone has big expectations of him, and he literally became a nuclear bomb. And this one guy, basically his protector, you know, or caretaker, had to tell him and keep on telling him, it's okay to be weak, you're a child, it's okay to be weak. And for us who are no longer children, it's okay to be weak sometimes. It's okay to have a physically limiting day, or a mentally limiting day, or any other limits, especially during this time. And it's fine to tell ourselves to just try again tomorrow. And the second thing that we should do is focus on what we have accomplished. So let's say, for example, we scheduled a day to clean the entire kitchen, and all you managed to do is organize the fridge. Then just focus on that. Maybe you didn't have that much time, or you simply didn't have energy, and it's not because of laziness or procrastination, but you just didn't have it in you for that one day. It's okay. Celebrate the little things and focus on the accomplishments that you have, but of course not limit yourself to that and end it there. Just give yourself some room, be kind to yourself, have some compassion, and tell yourself, it's okay, I didn't do perfectly, but it does not mean that I am a failure. So yeah, just remove that type of thinking from ourselves. So that's me for today. Thank you for joining me. Do check out the links in the description box below. Follow me on Twitter so that I can follow you back as well. And so yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.